Hello everybody and welcome to a special episode of British vs. American, today featuring...
Me, Jazza, is my name.
That's actually a name of a British Member of Parliament.
Is it?
Isn't that what everyone calls Corbyn?
Oh, no, he's Jez.
We learned something today. Today we're talking about politics. Couldn't get Jeremy Corbyn, I got Pound Shop Jeremy Corbyn.
The Pound Shop Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, that's offensive to me on so many levels.
New Grindr bio.
1 second.
The purpose of this video was basically, I find it very interesting that not a lot of Americans understand how the British Parliament works, how the British government works, and I feel like not a lot of British people understand fully how the US works, why it's come to the place it is. As an American, I'm still confused about Brexit. I watch stuff about it all the time. I would literally watch loads of Parliament hearings. So first off, the US has a written constitution. We're very proud of this. Any senator you'll talk to, he'll be like, yeah, don't forget it's unconstitutional, but there's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't do those things. It's just one of those words you use. How does the British Constitution work? Because it's not a thing. There's no written constitution.
Yeah, there isn't a constitution. Which is really funny because actually we are like... used as an example of the basis of a lot of kind of like constitutional laws across the world that we impose on other people. So
because you've been doing it for so long.
Because we've been doing it for a really long time. So we have the first kind of like codified rights of people in the Magna Carta. That still is basically the base of the rights that we have as...
Is it from the Magna Carta?
Yes, yeah. A lot of kind of like citizens' rights and rights of those who are ruled come from the Magna Carta. But so much of the UK's like rights are all based on kind of like premise.
But then how do you know that it's real, that you can be protected if it's just premise?
Giving people the benefit of the doubt.
I don't trust the government to do that.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, that's actually one of the problems with Brexit. That like we're going through like this big kind of like democratic shock with the UK at the moment. We don't really have the codified formalities necessary for us to be able to properly go through this. Like for example, the Prime Minister is just something we made up. It's never been codified. The role of the Prime Minister has never been made up. We're just like we probably should have one. Shall we just do it?
So if you don't know this is actually one of my favorite parts about how the British government works. Whoever is the winner of the majority in terms of the party, let's just say Labour or Conservatives, which is basically liberals or conservatives, they just elect one of their own to lead the entire government, right?
Well, the leader, convention is the leader of the party with the largest number of members of parliament will be the Prime Minister. And that's true, actually, in most non-presidential systems.
I like that a lot, because
like Angela Merkel she doesn't even have a majority in her... Like Angela Merkel of Germany, she is in a coalition with two parties, but because hers is the largest of those two parties, she's
the coalition of chaos.
Well, no, hers is quite good.
No, yeah, sure.
But ours is...
But I like that a lot more because in the US, you have to vote for a figurehead, whereas in the UK, you vote for the ideals, ideally, and the party, and then the party, you know, it's not just one person. It can change. We can go, we don't like this leader, and how often can you do that? Because I got freaked out when I found out you can just say, I don't have confidence in this leader, and you guys just get rid of them, just switch her out. Yeah, how often can you just vote no confidence?
Well, you can have a vote of no confidence.
How often?
Like whenever.
That's so strange.
I don't think there's a restriction on it. But the reason that they don't generally happen is because normally, under our first-past-the-post system, you will have a majority government. So there will be one party...
What's first-past-the-post?
First-past-the-post is whoever gets the most votes in a constituency will end up being the person elected. So it doesn't matter if you've won by one vote, that one person will end up going, rather than a proportionate system.
We do that in the US, I think.
Yeah, we have a similarly terrible election system.
Yes. Do you guys gerrymander?
Like, it's complicated. But we have an independent body that draws our boundaries.
That's fair, because for those of you unaware, the US is very bad with gerrymandering, where people will draw out the different constituencies to make sure that you get a lot of Republicans or a lot of Democrats
in a particular district,
even though it's not actually split that way. So you'll see the craziest shapes just because they rigged it, basically. So you guys have independent bodies doing that.
Yeah, we do.
That makes a lot of sense. Do you feel like it's not fair that people represented in the constituency of John Bercow's constituency aren't represented?
Do they know who John Bercow is?
He is the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
He basically, if you can describe what the Speaker of the House is, because I actually don't know.
The Speaker of the House is basically our version of the President. So the President...
What?
The president in the US traditionally was exactly that. He was somebody who presided over process.
Yeah.
They didn't actually have an awful lot of power in the US or in presidential systems, and then it's become this big personality thing. Our version of that, the person who kind of overlooks parliamentary process, is the Speaker of the House. Like, we'd usually have majority parliament. The Speaker isn't very powerful at all. They get to choose what gets debated, but that's about it. But now, John Bercow is
very powerful
is
right
the
now.
most powerful speaker that we've had in generations and generations, purely because of the
It's such an important
parliamentary
topic.
arithmetic. Yeah.
He seems very funny and well-spoken.
He also does. He's meant to intervene and stop people from misbehaving, and he'll go order.
The honourable gentleman from West Brookshire.
Yeah,
a real place?
West Brookshire.
I made up a thing. It probably sounded real.
Sounds legit.
The right and honourable gentleman from Yeehaw.
Queen is head of state and has a ton of power. It's just
She can murder people, right?
Yeah,
Legally.
yeah. She could stand in the middle of the road and shoot somebody, and she's fine. But it's convention that she doesn't have power. She could dissolve Parliament.
What if she just dissolves it and goes, I'm a monarch again. It's time to bring it back. Empire strikes back.
Everything burn. I kind of like that. We all quite like the Queen again because of the crown, I think, more than
The way that the US works, if you want to pass a law, you basically have to get a bill put in the House. One of the congressmen or congresswomen has to like put that forward. People vote on it. It gets 50%, goes to Senate, gets 50%, goes to the president, who can then sign it. It's a law. Or vetoes it, brings it back. Then over 2/3 of the vote of both the Senate and the House, boom, it's a law. There's a lot of checks and balances. I like that. Except for filibustering. How does it work in the UK in terms of the process from I want this to be a law to being a law?
The government generally will put forward,
And the government's the majority.
So there's the majority, and then there is the government, which is part of the majority. So the largest party will have the government, who are kind of like all of the ministers and all of the cabinet members and stuff like that.
Sure.
So everybody who basically has a brief, is in charge of a particular part of policy, is part of the government. So the government puts forward a bill, and then it gets debated in the House of Commons. Proposals will be put down for amendments and all of that kind of thing. And then it will be voted on. Generally, if it is the majority who have put it forward and they have a comfortable majority,
They don't
most
have to
bills
vote.
will go through.
Yeah.
Well, they will vote, but they'll go through pretty easily. But because we have a hung parliament, that's all over the shop at the moment. And then it goes to the House of Lords.
What is the House of Lords? I do not know what it's for. We've only been talking about the House of Commons. There's an analogy that the House of Commons is basically House of Representatives, and the Senate is basically the House of Lords, but I don't think that's true.
No, they're not the same. They are the same in terms of they are our lower house and upper house, and we have a bicameral system. So we have so the upper house, the Lords, has oversight over what the House of Commons does.
But is it ceremonial? I never see anything about
they
them.
have power.
Oh.
They actually have power.
Is Sugar one of the Lords?
Yeah, Lord Sugar is a lord.
Well, he's just a tax in the US.
He is a fantastic.
Sorry. Bad joke.
I wondered when there'd be a pun.
Sugar is our Lord and Savior in the US as well. Corn syrup as well.
Their role is to look over a bill that has been passed by the Commons and to be like, yeah, this is sound, this would work.
Can they shoot things down?
Yeah, they can't block them, but they can send them back to the House of Commons and be like, you should probably adjust some of this stuff.
Can they just keep doing that? Or is there like a check and balance where the Commons can go, no?
Again, it's just convention. So the
That's so weird to me. It's just convention.
Yeah,
the guys like, we'll be polite about it, actually.
Yeah, no, really. Like there's no.
How do you not have like just filibusters and people just being dicks to be dicks? I don't.
Yeah, there's no rule about how often they can send it back, but generally the House of Lords doesn't completely block government policy because democratic legitimacy comes from the House of Commons because the Lords are appointed. Nobody believes in God, but we've got bishops in the House of Lords.
The US wants to be the UK and the UK wants to be the US.
No, let's not put it like that.
All right, I tried my best. Does the Queen have to ratify every law?
Oh yeah, she rubber stamps it, and she could.
Does she have enough power to do that these days?
She has a lever.
Yeah, just.
She technically actually has the power to say no thanks and to not sign powers into law.
And then hypothetically,
but she's never the monarch hasn't done this in centuries.
And you're saying it's an unwritten thing, so there isn't anything in place where if she does that, what's the percentage then the House of Commons can still pass it? Is there any? I don't know.
Yeah, no. If the Queen went rogue, then she could stop all parliamentary. She can dissolve Parliament. She can just go, nah.
I found out this recent thing about U.S. politics recently that blew my mind, which is the Senate majority. Basically, if Congress want to pass something, like I said, it goes to the Senate. However, if the Senate has a majority of a certain party, right now it's held by the Republicans, the leader of the controlling party can just stop it before it even gets to the floor to be voted on.
Oh, that seems stupid.
Yeah, so like recently there was a unanimous vote in the House of Representatives, which was 420 to 0. Sorry, Blaze it. So it was 420 to 0, and it was, please show the Mueller report to the public once it's made available. It went to the Senate, where the leader, Mitch McConnell, just went, nope, we're not going to vote on it.
Yeah.
Even though bipartisanly, unanimously, everyone said we want this in Congress, the Senate can just go, oh no, I'm the leader, and it's not even going to get voted on. Even though it would pass.
Everybody in the US, whether you're in the House of Representatives or the Senate, or if you're the president, everybody has the ability to just kind of like stop stuff from happening and be a block.
Yeah,
and so
there's so many blocks in the US.
And you require there to be a lack of polarization for if you have different people running different parts of the government. There has to be like a broad agreement for stuff to go through. But now, because everything is so polarized, they disagree on literally absolutely everything.
Yes.
And so there's no, like, whenever you don't have both the houses and the presidency, then you're not allowed to pass anything.
No, nothing really happens. Everything is just at a standstill when you have a Republican president and a Democratic House, you know?
Yeah,
It just,
It was the problem that Obama had, right? Like,
yes,
after
it's always the
2012, he lost his majorities.
And then everything kind of went down.
And then he had to do everything with executive orders.
Yes.
Which then was really easy for Trump to roll back.
Out of curiosity, do you know much about the judiciary branch? The judicial branch of the
I know
US?
you have 9 justices. How many justices?
There's
do you
9
have?
justices on the Supreme Court. Yeah.
And they get appointed by the president.
Yes, it is
and
quite a partisan
it's,
pick.
And it's luck.
It's luck of when they die.
When they die.
Yeah. And it is annoying because you'd think that the judicial branch would be the one unbiased form of government. But it is just partisan as well. I like the amount of checks and balances. It's just, I feel like recently it's made so apparent that these are very easily corruptible. The fact that Trump was able to pick his attorney general, who would then be able to choose if the report was bad against Trump. It should be independent.
Yeah, there's always going to be bias, but I just feel like the level of partisanship that now exists, not just in the US, but in the UK as well, kind of is really testing the democracies that we have set up. So I see the US and I see kind of like the system withstanding the shock of Trump.
Yeah.
And but I don't really see that with the UK. I feel like our system is not built for something like Brexit.
One thing I do like about the UK is there are a lot more political parties that actually do pass.
Yeah, not many.
No,
like,
but
they
you
don't
still
get
have some
many
green
seats,
people.
Though.
There's like liberal
There's
Democrats.
one.
I think UKIP lost them all, but there's still other parties that get votes.
Yeah.
In the US, it's just independent or Republican or Democrat, and no one else really does anything. And also, there's like, how many independents? Not many.
Yeah, we need... Both of our countries need to have...
Australia's system, is that who has it?
No, well, New Zealand have a proportionate system.
New Zealand has
do
proportional.
Germany.
Makes so much more sense, but no one is going to vote that in because then they would lose the power as the party.
The Lib Dems tried to get it in as part of the smaller party of the coalition, and they put it to a referendum, but then British people voted it down because we're idiots.
How really they did?
Yeah, it went
That's
to...
so depressing.
Yeah, it's really sad.
I didn't know that.
Because everybody hated Nick Clegg because of tuition fees.
Does that have anything to do with the politics? Being knighted?
No, being knighted is just a nice thing to have.
A knight's thing to have. I jest.
There we go.
An American president can only hold for 2 terms.
Yes, 8 years, right?
Prime Minister, how long?
There's no limit. And they can come in and be voted in again. Like Churchill
He
was
just
voted
came
out
back,
and they
yeah.
came back. Thatcher was Prime Minister for 12 years?
Wow.
I believe.
How much of a role in politics does money play in the UK? Because in the US, there's so many different lobbying groups that all have their money in different senators and House of Representatives' pockets.
Cool. So when it comes to traditional like TV advertising,
I'm not talking about TV. I'm just talking about like, I want you to know, do you want any like shares in our company that's an oil company? Thanks. There's a law coming up about oil.
Yeah. So of course that happens in the UK, but it is nowhere near as bad because they have to declare their external interests.
But yeah, when it comes to like ads, when do your campaigns start for the general election? Because in the US, 2 years before the president like gets elected, we just start for a full 2 years. It's like, hey, here we go. It's time to do this again.
We have an election period of 6 weeks.
Well, I guess it's because there's so many 6 weeks. That's crazy. I guess, I'm sorry. I just like, wait, what? I guess it's just because there is no president. It's just every individual constituency. So you're mostly voting for parties. That it wouldn't be as much mudslinging as in the U.S., where it's like Bernie Sanders secretly worships Stalin.
Yes, although you do see that for like the party leaders, like they are kind of standing.
Yeah, you have like pictures of Ed Miliband.
Oh, Ed Miliband
that picture
eating
of
a
him eating
bacon
saying,
sandwich.
Why?
Yeah.
Why was that?
I mean, he should have learned how to eat pork better.
In the U.S., we have a lot of political action committees, or PACs. And what they do is they have huge amounts of money. Yeah, PAC.
Yeah,
well, we don't use that word in the UK. It's a bit offensive.
Oh, okay.
Oh! Damn!
That was quite funny. Okay,
Sorry.
you're allowed that one.
Let's just say I'm running for president. I won't even have these ads in my name. It'll be these huge mudslinging ads against you. And at the end, it's like, Evan is the only president we can have, paid for by the super PAC. So it wasn't even me, so that way I'm not in trouble for it. It was just a group of people that have a lot of money that want me to be in power, because then I pay them back. So you don't have anything...
So political advertising used to be very, very strict. There were no political like adverts, and there had to be a balanced representation of all parties on broadcast media.
I like that, except...
But now the internet exists.
Yes.
And the internet has kind of thrown all of that out the window, and we have similar kinds of organisations that are like pressure groups, especially around the referendum, because it was non...
There was Vote Leave and Vote Remain. They had big campaigns.
And they were big, broad churches that encompassed lots of people from different political persuasions. There are lots of restrictions about what official campaigns can spend and how they spend their money.
There's spending limits.
Yeah, there's spending limits. And also like how much they spend in particular parts of the organisation and stuff like that.
I find that the UK doesn't have as much of a focus on billboards and those signs that people put up. Like, they're there, but when I was in Munich, it just felt like every telephone pole had a different person. Vote for me, wähle für mich, something like that.
Mainland Europe does it very differently.
And the US as well. It's just like every house will have huge signs. Like, everyone will be so happy to be like, vote for this guy, bumper stickers. You guys are just kind of like,
I think
I don't see any vote for Theresa May. Well,
no, you would have
bumper stickers.
You would have. Maybe not. But it was all vote for Theresa May's team, because we forget that Theresa May is very unpopular now. But at the time, she polled more popular than Conservatives, so people ran as Theresa May's candidate rather than a Conservative candidate.
Hence why, same with the US. Republicans will say, Trump and me are best friends. Vote for me, and they'll like tweet all of his tweets and reply to them.
They get that one photo with them.
Yeah,
and then like
they're like, look, if you like Trump, you'll like me, and it's like that's. Just talk about your policies, man. Do you know how many amendments we have to the Constitution?
Is it 27?
It is exactly 27.
What
is this?
And didn't the first 20 happen in the first, few years or something?
The first century.
Yeah.
The most recent one we had passed was the 27th, and that was in 1971.
And that was slavery.
No.
No, what was the slavery one?
13th, yes. 18th was prohibition, and 21st was, our bad, we didn't mean prohibition. At this point, no one's really going to be passing laws that are going to be amendments in the U.S. It's just so unlikely. Because we have a written law, but it's nothing, what's going to be added to it? Weed?
Some people have been, maybe, but some people have been talking about there being a constitutional convention in the U.S., rewriting the Constitution.
That would be amazing, but gun toters would not enjoy that.
No.
It's surrounded.
That's been weaponized.
Yes, very. I mean, the Second Amendment is a good one.
Guns.
Oh. AOC, the Democrat from the Bronx, she actually is more well known.
Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes, she is actually more well known with Fox viewers than she is with her own party's viewers.
Wow.
Because Fox hates her so much, they will constantly throw her name out to be like, she's evil, she's evil, she's evil. And Democrats don't actually even know who she is, because they're like, oh yeah, she's just doing her job.
She also can't run for president because she's not 35.
No, she couldn't run.
Which is something else that we don't have a restriction on.
Really?
Yeah, there's no restriction.
I like that. You have to be at least 35 to be president.
Who do you want to win? 2020.
I like Bernie. He's currently the front runner at the moment. There's other people running. There's Ben O'Rourke. There's Cory Booker, who's actually from my state, but he's got
from New Jersey.
He's got two hands in the medical industry. Big
pharma. I was
he's got right in their pockets.
Don't most of them have two hands?
No, he's. Wow. I personally have always liked Sanders. He's always stayed to his word, and if you look at one of his policies he agrees in right now, you'll find something about him saying it in the 70s. He's never really flip-flopped. He's always been true, which I think is admirable. It's hard to find people like that these days.
If only you, Van. Don't run.
I can actually run in 7 years. Yeah.
Well, you heard it here.
Think of it,
The campaign starts now.
Can you guys please vote this video with a thumbs up if you'd vote for me for president? Thank you. If you have any other interesting questions about politics, please leave them in the comments, and hopefully our large community will help you out. This has been a fun video. Thanks for joining me. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on my channel, which I'm sure Evan will be linking somewhere. Great, good. Where I talk about politics, social stuff. I'm also occasionally a bit queer. But if you like having nice, meaningful, occasionally funny conversations, come check me out.
Cool. Check out Jazza. Thanks for watching. If you want, you can subscribe to my channel. My videos Sunday, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Toodaloo.